Jaden, tell me my inbox. Make sure you, hey, Kentucky Dakota. Hey, Living Agony. Make sure you head over to YouTube, my YouTube channel, Hey Girls Allyson, to watch part 1 of Self Love. But today we are talking about part 2, which is all about comparison. Congratulations, Haley. She said she hit 1K. Hey, Delilah. So we are focusing on self-love part 2 today. I'm going to give you all about a minute to come on. You leaving, Delilah? Okay, catch the replay. Hey, cat lover. I try to say hi to everybody. Trust me, I'm not famous, y'all. Single forever and always. Uh-oh, Millie, what happened? But I just wanted to say, come on, let y'all come on so I can say hi, and then we could get started. Hey, I eat noodles. Right, compare yourself to others. So remember we started, hey Sunflower, hey Violet. I started, hey Shira, yay. So remember I started the topic of talking about self-love because I get a lot of messages from you all in my inbox here on TikTok and on Instagram. And it simply says, how do I love myself more? You know, people have been talking about me. Hey Mylan. How do I just learn to love me? Right? So that's why I wanted to start this series, because self-love is not just one thing I could really like talk about one time. Like this is like something that has to be talked about over multiple videos, in my opinion. Mainly because I can't just say this is how you love yourself. Like there's so many different things to have to break down. Hey JLOL, hey Happy Dogs. To get your mindset ready to love yourself, because it's not just, hey that girl Nana. It's not just one day I hate myself, the next day I love myself. It's I have to get rid of all these old mentalities first, and then I can start to love myself. I have to really get rid of, hey Mina, I have to get rid of my old mindset first, hey Tiana, before I can adapt a new mindset. I have to get rid of the old lies first before I can adapt the real truth. Right? So we talked about that the last live I did. I talked about unlearning. And so that process of unlearning is so important because you're going through the process of unlearning all the lies that you've been taught, whether it was consciously or subconsciously, whether it was known or it was unknown. You know, things have been teaching you what it means to be beautiful. Things have been teaching you what it means to be accepted, what it means for people to love who you are. The world has been telling you for so long. Your influencers have been telling you for so long, whether they outwardly said, this is what beautiful means, or they haven't. But sometimes it's just by seeing a message over and over and over again communicated that it starts to become your truth. And so my unlearning live I did Saturday was all about that. How do we start the process of unlearning some of those things we had learned before? And so now, today we're talking about comparison, because that's another thing that comes up that can stop you from really loving yourself. So Small Human says, I'm really nervous about my body image. So we're going to talk about that today. Because a lot of what many of you experience, which is what I've experienced as well, really just cut the tie. No, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I still struggle with comparison. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna front and be like, I don't struggle with comparison. I don't compare myself no more. It's not that. I do still struggle with it, but I have a better control over it now, to where I can stop my comparison thoughts in their tracks and begin to appreciate what the other person is doing while still understanding that there's a place for me in the world too. And so I don't know if you've ever heard the saying before, but there's a saying that says comparison is the thief of all joy. And there is not a truer statement that I've heard. Hey, Scarlett. Comparison is the thief of all joy. Why is comparison the thief of all joy? Because the moment that you become happy about something personally, when you log on to social media or you talk to a friend and you tell them what you have going on and they say, that's so great, this is what I have going on, You instantly begin to compare if you don't know how to shut that down and appreciate what you have and have the capacity to appreciate what somebody else has too. You begin to compare, hey Bella, you begin to compare your success to somebody else's success. You begin to compare your beauty to somebody else's beauty. You begin to compare, your intelligence with somebody else's intelligence. Hey puppy, hey Oreo best puppy. And so instead of you embracing and enjoying what you already have, you stop and you begin to compare what you already have to what somebody else has. But they told her, inbox me, that girl, inbox me. So comparison truly becomes a thief of all joy, because as soon as you may be feeling good, feeling great about who you are, or you may be feeling terrible about who you are. And as soon as you log on to social media and you see somebody else doing something and getting the credit for something, and people really, liking or sharing what they're doing, you begin to say to yourself, well, maybe what I have really isn't good enough. Hey, Mika. So it steals away all your joy. Any joy that you could have possibly had ends up disappearing because you begin to look at somebody else's life and say, I want that life. Or you begin to say, my life isn't good enough, or my life isn't good because it doesn't look like their life. And there are a lot of issues that come with that mindset, because if you're not careful, you will begin to look at everybody else's grass as being greener than your grass. And when sometimes in reality, two things, you can either water your grass more, or two, they're spray painting their grass to make it look green. And that's a metaphor that I'm going to explain throughout this whole thing. But understanding that comparison really robs you of being able to enjoy your life. It really robs you of being who you are, or really identifying who you're supposed to be, if you're always comparing your life and never feeling like your life is good enough, which we know is not the truth. Hey, Aubrey. Hey, Julia. So we end up saying my life isn't good enough because it doesn't look like theirs. Or I'm not that beautiful because I'm not getting the attention she's getting. Or I'm not that intelligent because her grades are better than mine. It's okay. You're local. You're good. So comparison has issues, and we all deal with it. And it's harder now because social media puts everybody's life on display, or a portion of their life. Is it wrong to stop being friends for something like that? Comparison. I wouldn't say stop being friends. I would say we need to address the comparison, which is what we're going to talk about today. Mika, if it has to do with what I'm talking about today, yes. If not, inbox me. Okay. So first thing, what I talked about, first thing was comparison is the thief of all joy. So the minute you start comparing, you stop feeling joy about what you possess. Hey, Rikishi. So if I'm so excited, like I got a book coming out on the 1st, pre-orders start October 1st, shameless plug, right? So what if I start comparing my book to other books that are out there? Then I can't be excited about mine because I'm saying, well, it's not getting as much attention as their book, so maybe my book's not good enough. No, my book is great. Their book is great too. Okay, maybe they're doing something that I could be doing to make my book have more, attention, have people want to come and buy my book more. It doesn't mean my book isn't good. It's just it's going to a different audience, or people are just not buying it. But I'm going to be okay with that and then try to improve it in the process. Hey, Dobby. Hi, Nelly. I'm glad to hear that I helped you. Second thing, it makes you feel, so comparison makes you feel like there's no room in the world for you to be yourself. Now, what I mean when I say that is, if I'm constantly comparing my life to her life, and eventually I get to the point where I'm so dissatisfied that I want the attention that they're getting, or I want my life to look like their life. Hey, Tom Holland. Then I'll begin to change who I am, feeling like who I am is not good enough. It's okay, Lunar Eclipse. This will be on YouTube. So I talked about this multiple times. There are times you will compromise who you are just to become somebody or something that you are not, to get the attention that you think you need. And so comparison can cause you to do that also. where you're sitting around trying to figure out, okay, whose life is better than mine? Okay, this famous person's life is better than mine. What are they doing? Okay, they have 1,000 likes, and they just took a picture of them in a bikini. Let me go put a bikini on and see if I can get the same amount of likes. Because you're so busy comparing your life to their life, and you think you want the life that they have. Because on social media, it seems like their life is perfect, when in reality, it is not. One thing I want you to understand about social media is that you are literally only seeing a glimpse, like 10% of that person's life. Do y'all realize that? Social media is literally like a picture from somebody's entire life. And majority of it is Photoshop. That's right, Cheese Whiz. It is a snapshot of their life. Because many times somebody will be feeling terrible the whole day and say, oh, I got to post something for my followers. Put on a fake smile, look happy for 30 seconds, record their little dances, all of that. And then once they've done that, they're back to being depressed. Then they post it on social media and you say, man, I wish my life was like hers. No, you don't. You want your life to be like those 10 to 15 seconds they just showed you. That is not the bulk of their life. And so when you start doing that comparison thing, you're comparing yourself to a snapshot of somebody's life. Hey, Heather. Only a snapshot. Many of these people that you're seeing on social media and YouTube going viral and things like that, you are seeing a snapshot. You're not seeing what it took to get there. You're not seeing how they feel when the camera is off. You're not seeing what their home life is like. You're not seeing what their grades look like. You're not seeing everything that it takes for them to look like that, sound like that. You don't know how much Photoshop is being done to a picture. You don't know how much makeup they're putting on to look that perfect. You don't know what kind of bodysuits they got on to make their waist look that small. You have no clue. But because you saw a snapshot of their life, hey, Ravenclaw, you saw a snapshot. You think that that is their whole life. You think that those millions of followers make them happy on a daily basis, and it does not. It does not. There are countless articles and information about people that grew up and became so famous and had all of these followers and all of these fans, and they fell into depression and drugs and alcohol. Some of them took their lives. Hey, I am. That's happening every day. But because you saw a snapshot of their life on social media, you think their life is perfect. And you think that your life is not perfect because you're comparing it to a snapshot. Hey, Karen. It is sad, Ravenclaw. Because people feel like they have to put on this fake persona to be accepted. And a lot of that comes from, hey, Royalty Reeves, a lot of that comes from them comparing their lives to somebody that they saw before them. And so when you're comparing yourself, you feel like you as yourself are not good enough. Hey, little miss. Hey, Aaliyah. And so you start saying to yourself, what do I need to change about me to be accepted by everybody? And the answer is nothing. When you see what is plastered everywhere and you see the people that are getting millions of followers, you automatically assume they have what it takes. That is the role model. That is the image I should be going after. Those are the videos I should be making. Because you start to think you're not good enough. And that's not true. That's not true at all. I've said this in all my videos. There's only one of you. And there is something that was put on the inside of you. It's okay, Ravenclaw. This will be on YouTube. There's something that was put on the inside of you for a reason. And if you don't let it out by being 100% authentic, being yourself every step of the way, that thing that's supposed to come out of you and help the world in some way won't get out if you're trying to compare yourself and change yourself to be accepted. Hey, Nicole. So, whatever that thing is, has to come out of you, the authentic you, the real you. And there's room for you. How do I know? Let's think about Rihanna, right? Just in the past 5 years, Rihanna came out with Fenty Beauty. I think it was 5 years. I could be wrong. Fenty Beauty makeup. How many makeup lines were in existence before she came out with Fenty Beauty? Hundreds. Not just nationally in the US, internationally. Hundreds, maybe even thousands. When you go to Ulta or when you go to Sephora, there are all type of makeup lines all over the place. What if Rihanna said, well, my labeling doesn't look as good as Max labeling. I probably shouldn't do it. You know, my colors aren't as pigmented as ColourPop's colors. I probably shouldn't do it. Or what if she said, you know, there are so many makeup lines out there. I should probably do something else. But what if she had never released her own makeup line? There are foundations that exist within Fenty Beauty that people hadn't even thought to mix up. But she did. But what if she stopped at the comparison? We wouldn't have it. We wouldn't have Fenty Beauty. And Fenty Beauty is still successful because there was still room for her. Amidst all the other makeup lines, there was still room for her makeup line. Think about when you go to Walmart or whatever grocery store you go to, and you walk, I challenge you next time, walk down the bread aisle. How many different brands of bread are there? Too many. How many different ways can you make white bread and wheat bread? But guess what? Every time I walk down that bread aisle, hey Ice T, hey Jocelyn, every time I walk down that bread aisle, at least half of whatever is put on the shelf is already gone from every single brand. Inbox me, Heather. So you can't allow yourself to compare. Happy birthday, Sam. You can't allow yourself to compare yourself to other people simply because it could stop you from recognizing that you, your authentic self, still has a place in this world being you. Hey, Jess. Hey, baby Moki. You still have a place to be you. And even if the 10, 15 people in your classroom don't accept you, don't like you, you know how many people there are in the world? Billions. And what was put on the inside of you is going to help some of them. Even if it's not the 15 that's in your class, there are billions of other people out there that need you. Hey, Ice T. Hey, Winter Baby. Hey, Emily. So you can't allow comparing yourself to stop you. You can't allow comparing yourself to keep you or hold you back from being your authentic self. Bye, Small. Hey, Ducky. Because the minute you do that, the thing on the inside of you won't get out. And that help that the world needed is now gone. Hey, Bora Bora. There's a saying that says the most expensive property in the whole world is the graveyard. Hey, Billy's Angels. The most expensive property in the whole world is graveyards. Why? Because there are so many ideas, so many concepts that could have helped save worlds, save nations, died because people didn't do what they were called to do. People were too afraid to step out and be themselves. People were nervous that people wouldn't accept them. Hey, Dahlia. Hey, Mr. Chef. Hey, Notori. Hey, Victoria. People died with an answer to this world on the inside of them because of fear. Because they were being bullied and didn't know how to overcome it. Because they were just scared to be themselves. They went on comparing themselves and they decided that they were going to take an easy way out and take an easy road because somebody else's life looked easy. You know, some of our parents and even my parents, they took the easy road in some ways. Why? Because they said to themselves, I can either live my dream and it be rough, or I can work this 9 to 5 for years. But at least I'll be playing it safe. At least I know I'll eat. At least I know that I have somewhere to live. At least I know my kids will have clothes. Because they compared their life to somebody else's. They could have taken a chance and gone after a dream where they were living their ultimate life purpose. But because they said, this looks hard, and I don't think I want my life to be rough. I think I want it to be easy, kind of like theirs. Hey, Miss Unique. Hey, K Cloudy. They ended up not being everything they were meant to be. Because comparison also causes fear. Fear of missing out on what they think somebody else has. Thank you, Millie. I appreciate that, sweetheart. It creates a fear of my life isn't good enough. What do I need to do to make my life good enough? And then we're out here trying to do all these random things that other people are doing, and none of it fits us. Some of us have taken on these identities that we think is us because we saw what somebody else was doing, and we said, oh, well, they look happy. Oh, well, they're speaking freely. I could do that. Maybe I need to be like them. No, you need to be like you. Because there's freedom in being you. Why? Because there's nobody else like you. That's freedom within itself. When you decide to be your authentic self, there is literally no comparison. Why is there no comparison, big sis? There's no comparison because there's nothing to compare you to. Do you realize that? When you live your authentic life and you live as your authentic self, there's no use for comparison because you can't compare you to anything. Why can you not compare you to anything? Same saying I've been said, sis. There's only one of me. There never was and there never will be. So if I'm the first and the last me, who am I comparing myself to? No one. Why? Because there's no one out in the world that's been like me. Well, what if I study people that are similar to me? Hey, Wiggles, McCluskey, stop hating. How come I can't go and research people that are like me? Because there's never been a person like you. We're going to talk about how to stop. But this is one of the ways. Acknowledge and accept that there's only one of you. Once you can firmly look in the mirror and say, and this is in our affirmation, there's only one of me, and that's all there'll ever be. Right? We say it in our affirmation all the time. There's only one of me, and that's all there'll ever be. That's all there ever was. It's only one of you. So when there's only one, what do you have to compare it to? Nothing. Nothing. You can like what somebody else does. You can say, I think I might take that on. I think that would be good for me. That's one thing. But to say, I want to be like her, no. You want to be like you. Now, you can work on you and find different ways to improve you. But to try to be somebody else, what's the point? When you're already unique, when you're already one of a kind, when you already stand out as who you are. So many of us are trying to look to be the next thing to stand out. We trying to stand out. We trying to get people to notice us. Be you. Nobody wants a terrible carbon copy where I look and I say, oh yeah, so-and-so did that 2 weeks ago. Why do you want to do something or be somebody that somebody could go and find the original for? Why would I do that? Why would I want a bad fake? So somebody later on can come along and say, you just like so and so. Now I can't even establish my own legacy. I can't even establish what I'm called to do. I can't even establish my own thing, my own original thing, because somebody else can go and find the originator. So why would they hire a copy? They won't. They gonna look for the original. So why not choose to be the original instead of being a fake, a copy? Because guess what? Even if you a copy, that don't mean you're going to be successful at it. Because you always going to be looking towards the person you copying to get your ideas, to get your motivation. When you could just look in the mirror and say, you know what? What's on the inside of me? You know what? I think I want to do this. This is something I feel like is calling me. And you become the original. And then people looking at you like, man, how'd you come up with that? I was being me. Dang, really? I'm going to try that too. That's a good idea. It's a good idea. What do you do when people go to New York all the time, I've done it, and buy knockoff bags because I can't afford the original. So I buy a cheap knockoff that doesn't last very long, is not of good quality. And if people walking down the street looked at my bag, they would say, that's a fake. Because the copies will never have 100% of what the original has. I don't care how good they sell it to you. It's never going to be the original. So why not be an original? Why compare when you don't have to compare? What I do now when it comes to me comparing, when I have to stop myself from comparing myself, I have to say, what am I comparing? Okay, she has this many followers. I have this many. Okay, why is that important to you? Excuse me. Why is followers important to you? And I have to break it down. Because if followers are important to me because I want to feel accepted, then I have an internal issue. It's not an issue I don't have followers. It's an issue that I'm looking for people to accept me. And we've already talked about the issue with looking for everybody to accept you. It's a problem because if I just go for what y'all like, then I'm going to always be shifting and changing because y'all's opinion changes. Versus if I'm an original and I'm not pressed on the follows and I'm not pressed on what the community is telling me they want, but I keep doing what I know they need, that's different. If I'm comparing how I look, if I'm comparing my hair to somebody else's hair, I have to backtrack and say, you know what? I like her style of hair. I think that will be cute on me. I should try it. Not, oh my gosh, I want her hair so bad. My hair is terrible. That's where comparison gets in the danger zone. Because you can look at somebody's hair and say, man, I like their hair so much. I think I might try that. That's different from, oh my gosh, I love her hair so much. Why is my hair so terrible? I hate my hair. I'm just going to cut all my hair off. Those are two different things going on. Two different things. There's a difference in, man, she looks great. She looks so fit. I think I might want to adjust some of the things going on with my diet. I haven't been feeling very good, and I really want to get into that dress I wore 2 years ago. That's different versus, oh my gosh, her body is perfect. Like, I'm just so fat. Like, why am I so fat? Those are two different situations. So I'm not saying don't look at other women or other girls and admire something about them. Because there's power in that. If I see a girl on my Facebook feed or another Facebook friend, and I see her looking amazing, I see she's done her makeup, maybe she hasn't, and she just looks great, I'll get on there and tell her. And I've made that a habit within myself because I'm gonna hype people up. I want them to know that they're beautiful. Versus I see somebody looking nice and all of a sudden that makes me feel terrible about myself. I do that because I'm not loving me. I'm not loving who I am. I don't have that self-love for myself. In fact, when I look in the mirror, I don't like anything I see. So when I look in the mirror and I don't like anything I see, the first thing I'm going to do is compare it to something I do like, which is somebody else. And then I'm going to spend all my days and nights trying to think of ways to be that person, or I'm going to be thinking about all the ways I'm not that person, which leads me in the opposite direction of self-love. So we have to stop comparing ourselves. We have to see ourselves as an original, a one of a kind, a rare jewel, like the ninth, 10th wonder of the world. Because you ain't never going to see this again. So I really have nothing to compare it to. Nobody's as beautiful as me. Nobody has better hair than me. Nobody's eyebrows are better than mine. Nobody's voice is better than mine. And I don't say that to put anybody down. I say that because it's the truth. There is nobody as beautiful as I am, because nobody on the planet will ever look like me again. There's nobody whose hair will be as beautiful as mine. Why? Because you'll never find a person on the planet with hair like mine. It may be similar, but the amount of hairs on her head will be different than the amount on my head, which will be different outcomes when it comes to hairstyling. So comparison has to be taken out of what you are doing with your life when it comes to self-love. In order for you to get to self-love, comparison has to be kicked out the window. Period. You cannot find self-love if you are always comparing yourself to other people. Because that means you started off not loving who you are, not loving the custom design that you are. Next, comparison stops you from appreciating someone else for who they are. So sometimes we'll compare ourselves with another girl in our head, right? And I'm about to get real. We compare ourselves with somebody else, but instead of complimenting her or instead of acknowledging her beauty, we start talking about her. We start making nasty comments about her. If somebody brings her up to us, we don't want to hear all of that. I ain't trying to talk about her. Well, why you don't like her? I don't know. It's just something about her I don't like. No, that ain't what it is. It's that you've compared yourself, and instead of stopping yourself to appreciate the unique beauty she is, because remember, if you are one of a kind, so is she. So instead of you taking time to acknowledge the rare beauty she is, you went and compared yourself to her, and now jealousy kicks in. And instead of you being real with yourself enough to say, you know what, I'm jealous right now, I'm comparing myself, I need to chill out. I don't like her. She a thought. I don't know. It's just something about her I don't like. I don't fool with her. I don't fool with girls like her. And we end up faking us being hard and faking what we believe her to be, because real talk, we jealous. We formed jealousy in our head because we were comparing ourselves, and we felt like her beauty was telling us that we couldn't be beautiful. And so now she ain't beautiful, she ugly. I don't know why none of these guys like her. Oh, I'll talk about me then. It's not y'all. I'll talk about myself. I'll tell you this story. This story is so crazy. So one year, so I used to sing. I still sing, but I used to sing more. Thank you, Art World. And remember I told you I had a best friend in college. We ended up not being best friends no more. So my first year of grad school, I was a part of this national choir, right? And it was called 105 Voices of History. Wonderful choir. So one year we were preparing for a show in Nashville at the Grand Ole Opry. And we had the rehearsals and all that stuff going on in Nashville. And so there was a solo that we were going to do for this song. And I had already done the solo when I was in high school. So I knew the song. Like, I had performed the song in different cities. Like, I was ready to sing this song. So for some reason, when I got to Nashville, and mind you, I had rode with my best friend at the time and like two other people. So They knew I was auditioning for the song. So for some reason, when I got to Nashville, my voice was not like I could not sing right. Like something was going on. I don't know what was going on. Something was going on with my voice. And so my audition did not go well. And so I came out, told my best friend I was really upset. So then she went into audition for a different song. She did not audition for the song I auditioned for. I think because she assumed I was going to get it, but I don't know. Anyway, so when she went into audition, they said to her, can you try and sing this song? Now, the song they wanted her to sing was a song I had just auditioned for. So she didn't tell me right then. Come to find out, she got the solo that I wanted. I got no solo. She got the solo that I wanted. So internally, I'm comparing my voice to her voice, and I'm upset. But I don't say anything out of my mouth. I'm acting a little funny. And she, she's a little, feeling a little weird around me because she knows I auditioned for the solo, but she doesn't say anything. But in my head, I am like wishing and hoping for her to crack on stage. Like I'm wanting like her to lose her voice today. Like this all going on up here. Like I'm just like, I hope she lose her voice the day before. Like all of this crazy stuff is going on in my head about my best friend at the time. Because I was comparing myself. But instead of me being able to congratulate her and appreciate her talent for what it was and say to myself, well, maybe next time I need to take better care of my voice. Instead of me doing that, I immediately went into jealousy and immediately went into anger and frustration at her. Now, it's not her fault she had a beautiful voice. So I can't be mad at her. But I was mad at her. That's where that jealousy and comparison kicked in. So one day, because at the time I was trying to get my heart right with Jesus, right? Like I was like, I need to start like being the Christian that I say I'm going to be. I need to start treating people with kindness. I need to get my heart right, because if my heart's not right, then a lot of my actions not going to be right. So one day we're sitting right before rehearsal, and something in me was like, you need to confess yourself to her. Like you need to confess your wrong to her. So I turned to her and I said, just out of nowhere, I said, I got to tell you something. She said, what? I said, I just want you to know that ever since you got that solo, I've been hoping you would crack. And I've been hoping that that you would lose your voice before, because I'm very angry you got that solo. But I'm really sorry I did it. Like I shouldn't have been doing that. You've been a good friend to me. Like I shouldn't be upset that your voice is beautiful and mine just wasn't working at the time. But regardless of that, I'm sorry. Guess what her face looked like? Like her face was like that for a good 1-2 minutes. And I just kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, because I recognized that I was wrong. She wasn't wrong. She didn't steal a solo from me. She didn't go in there and say, Allyson is a terrible singer. No, she went in there with her authentic voice and was her authentic self and sang beautifully. And everybody thought so. Not saying they didn't think I sounded beautiful, but they thought she was better suited for the solo. And so when we get into this habit of comparison, we end up cutting off our eyes to see everybody else's beauty. Hey there, friendly weed. We end up cutting off our eyesight to see the rare beauty in somebody else. One thing I love about what we created on here when we're live and in the comments is that y'all always love it on each other. And that's how it should always be. But not just here, everywhere else. Because just like I would tell you that you are rare, you're one of a kind, you're a unique, beautiful person. If your friend of me got on here, I would tell her the same thing, because it's true for her too. But when you're in comparison, you can't see it for the other person, because all you see is what you are not. Because that's how you train your mind to think. If they have something you don't, or somebody says something to them about them being pretty and they don't say it to you, it cancels your beauty out, but that's not true. And then if you feel like your beauty is canceled out, in your mind, you try to cancel hers out, when in reality, you're just jealous of hers. Can we keep it 100 in here? Can we keep it 100? Can you be real with me? Because I've done it. I've done it. Where I felt less than because somebody did or didn't say something to me. I felt like I wasn't good enough because I was comparing myself to somebody else. When in reality, I cannot be compared. You cannot be compared. You cannot compare me to anybody else, because I'm one of a kind. Now, if I'm not your type, that's cool. Say that. But don't sit here and say to me she's more beautiful than you are, because that's not true. She's her own beauty type and I'm my own beauty type. Hers will never be seen again and neither will mine. So both of us are beautiful. I'm just not your type. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Because we both look good, period. I don't care what I'm out here looking like. I don't care if I'm bald head. I don't care if I got 2 arms, 1 arm, whatever. I'm still beautiful and I'm still one of a kind. I'm just not for you. I'm just not your type. And we have to learn to say, that's okay. Because I'm not for everybody. Period. I don't want to be for everybody. I don't want everybody to run up to me and say, oh, I love you. No, because some people are going to say, I don't like you. And I'm going to say, thank you so much for your honesty. The door's to the left. I'm not for everybody. Period. And I'm not meant to be. Because there's a person that's called to that group. There's a person that's called to that group. I'm not for everybody. But I'm still 100% me. And that's what you're going to get. And if that's not for you, then just say that. And we can move on with our day. But what you're not going to do is tell me that she's prettier than I am, because that doesn't exist. Because I can't be compared. Because her beauty is one of a kind and so is mine. And I need you to also see that. When a beautiful girl walks into the room, I don't need you to shrink down and feel like you're not beautiful. When another beautiful girl walks into the room and the guy's eyes go to her, that doesn't make you any less beautiful. That doesn't take away from what you have. Because her beauty cannot be compared to yours. And I need, when she walks in the room, for you not to turn your nose up at her. And for you to start whispering stuff about her to your best friend because you feeling insecure. Because you don't love you yet. Woo! I'm getting real. I'm getting real tonight. Nobody else's beauty affects yours. Period. So I need, when she walks in the room and she's beautiful, I need you to tell her she's beautiful. I need you to compliment her hair. I need you to compliment her clothes. I need you to compliment her style. Because it's hers. It's original. It's individual. It's rare. Same as yours. Don't turn your nose up at her. Applaud her. Applaud the rare beauty that she is. And then you move on with your day because you're rare and you're beautiful. And her beauty doesn't stand in the way of yours. Woo. Sip my tea. Woo. I can't even hold my pen. Woo. So comparison steals you, robs you of your joy. Makes you feel like there's not a place for you when that's not true. And it stops you from appreciating the rare beauty of somebody else. It causes a divide between us that shouldn't even exist. Because once I understand that I'm one of a kind, and I understand that there's only one of me, and my beauty is not to be compared, my intelligence is not to be compared, my style, my hair, none of that is comparable, then you walking in the way you walk in doesn't faze me. If anything, it excites me because I've never seen someone like you before, and I never will. It should excite me to see you doing your thing, because I know that's the thing that God put on the inside of you. That should excite me, not make me nervous, not make me feel intimidated. I should be excited that there's another beautiful woman in the room with me. That should excite you, not intimidate you. But you have to love you first and understand you first before that can even take place. And then the last part of comparison, sometimes you're, like I said before, you're comparing yourself to a snapshot. You compare yourself to something that is not authentic. Many of the bodies, and I'm not saying all, many of the bodies and the hair and all type of other things that we're seeing on social media, is either fake or photoshopped. And so you're sitting around saying to yourself, how can I be like them? When many times you just need the right app or the right amount of money. You shouldn't be comparing yourself to anything that's not authentic. You shouldn't be comparing yourself at all, because nobody can be compared to you. But we look into people's lives and we think that they're living the best life because we see a picture of them on a beach, or we see a picture of them in a bathing suit, or we see that they're advertising something fancy, and we say, man, they must be living the life. They're not. Many times they're fighting battles you have no clue about. So it's important for you not to compare your grass to somebody else's grass, because your grass can be improved. There's nothing wrong with improving who you are for you to become better. Not to make somebody else think you're better, but for you to become better. Or that person is using spray paint to make their grass look green. But over time, the green will fade and you'll see what's really been going on. And you'll realize that you've been working so hard to have green grass like theirs, when in reality, their grass was never green. And you spend all this time working, you spend all this time comparing, and all this time slaving over your grass to make it look a little bit green like theirs. And you find out they were faking it the whole time. You caused yourself to do so much work that you thought you needed to be accepted by people that you sometimes will never meet, never even acknowledge if you saw them on the street. Do y'all realize that we do that? Like, we work so hard for likes and shares and comments from people that we'll never meet in our entire lifetime. Like, y'all working hard for strangers, but y'all won't work that hard for yourself. Ooh. Ooh. Y'all working hard to be approved and loved on by people you will never meet. For what? Do you really think 1 million followers is going to make you feel better about yourself? Do you really think that 1 million followers is going to make you love yourself? It's not. So we have to overcome comparison. And it starts by understanding that you cannot be compared. You're one of a kind. You're rare. There's never been anyone like you. There isn't anyone like you. And there'll never be anyone like you. So who can you be compared to? No one. You're you. And that's who you were meant to be. No matter what TV is telling you, how you're supposed to look, how your hair is supposed to be, what your makeup's supposed to look like, don't matter. Doesn't matter. All right? Your comments have stopped showing up. So inbox me and let me know if this helped in any way. If it cut out, it will be on YouTube for you to check out, and I can see your comments and things, but I don't know what's going on with TikTok. It acts like it doesn't like me. But if you can still hear me, I'm going to pray us off, and then I'm going to get out of here. All right? But please know that you cannot be compared. That's how you stop comparing yourself. Understand that you cannot be compared. That there is one of you. That's all there ever was, and that's all there ever will be. There's only one of you. And that somebody else's beauty, somebody else's body does not take away from what you possess. Appreciate theirs. I challenge you. Next time you see another beautiful young woman on social media, comment. Tell her that she's beautiful. Comment on her outfit. I love your style. I've never seen it before. I love your smile. I've never seen it before. And it may be weird at first, but after a while, you'll love doing it. I love doing it. I love gassing up other women because I want them to know that they're beautiful. If nobody's told them, they're beautiful. Same with you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pray. Father God, in Jesus' name, I thank you for everyone listening on here live And I thank you for everyone listening on the recording on YouTube, Lord. I first want to just say thank you for who you are. I thank you, Jesus, for loving on us, dying for us on the cross, oh God, that we may be closer to you. And God, I pray for every young girl on here, Lord, that as they hear this message, Lord, they will begin to see that you have custom designed them to be just who they are. You numbered the hairs on their head for a certain reason. You colored their eyes a specific way that no one will ever see again. You've created their skin tone. I see you mixing the paints and creating their skin tone so that it is so perfect for them, but it'll still never be seen again, Lord. Help them to understand that you have created them to be one of a kind, rare, which automatically makes them beautiful, which automatically makes them non-comparable to anybody else on the planet forever and for all time. Help them to see that the way they were created was for a reason, because Lord, you put something on the inside of them that can only come out through them. And I pray that they never compare themselves. I pray they start the journey of never comparing themselves again, so that they understand that they have a specific purpose and a specific place on this earth, that you've called them to something specific, that they have an answer on the inside of them that is going to change this world, whether by one person, 50 people, 1,000,000 people, or more. Something is on the inside of them that's going to change the world. And I pray they begin to tap into it. I pray they don't leave this earth and it just rests on the inside of them, Lord. I pray they see themselves as the beautiful, unique young girl they were created to be. And not only that, Lord, open their eyes up to see the unique beauty that their sisters around them possess, that all the girls around them possess. And I speak, they'll even have the boldness to speak up and to let them know they're beautiful, to speak up and to call them one of a kind, to speak up and let them know that their beauty cannot be compared because they're one of a kind. They're rare. They're a jewel. I thank you for every single one of them. I pray sweet sleep over them, and that this message touched them in some way to help them on the journey of self-love, because it is a daily walk and a daily choice. And I pray they all make the best choice, which is to love themselves. And if somebody else doesn't bother them. If someone else does, that's nice. But what's most important is that they love who they are and who they've been created to be. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. I love y'all. Peace.